Hello. Right. Good morning. This is our last day in Sedona. Welcome to day 6/7. I didn't like my day 6 recording. I didn't feel like it was very clear, so I'm going to try again. And I brought Jim in here to help us with the topic, help me with the topic. So what I want to talk about today before we go into the meditation, I've talked about it earlier, but I feel like it could be talked about again and again and again to really drive it home. That Lester talks about that what we want and what we don't want is really the root of all of our suffering, and that ultimately happiness, joy, and peace uh, come from the inside. And if we can let go of the world and how we want to tweak the world and make it to please us, if we can let go of those things, we can have so much more peace in our lives. And so I have a couple of quotes from the Keys to Ultimate Freedom. He talks about a desire, which is a want, is a disturbance of one's natural inherent peace and joy. In short, desire is the enemy of happiness and the source of misery. Like, wow. Um, who taught you that in high school? No one. And Jim, you wanted to say
Quite the
something.
opposite. I remember hearing that that desire is the source of all progress, that without it, we would be in the dark ages still, and that desire is a good thing. Um, and so that absolutely flies in the face of everything that we've been taught.
Yeah. Well, and so that I think that actually brings up, I'm sure a lot of people would have questions about that. The
Yeah.
way I understand what Lester says is it's the holding on, um, that it's fine to want something. And I go to a quote that I recently heard from Stan Groff, which is ask for what you want and take what you get. Which is okay. I want these AirPods, right? Um, but I'm not going to make my happiness dependent on whether or not I get these AirPods. I'm going to put them down. And if they come to me, fantastic. And if they don't, fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and so just holding things loosely, if at all. But that doesn't mean that that you can't take action towards the things that you want. If you're not in a relationship and you want a relationship, fine, get out there and mix with people. Um, but it actually brings me back to after my late husband passed away and I started online dating. It was so much more fun because I didn't make anything of it. I didn't, I think talking to clients, like a lot of people are like, I gotta find the guy, I gotta find, and like, oh, and I went on a date, shit, that wasn't the guy, and so sad, so disappointed. And my attitude during that process was, I'm just going to meet someone and we're going to see what happens. And hopefully we'll both enjoy ourselves. Hopefully we'll bring something into each other's life that's either fun or helpful or whatever. You know, and as long as it's not horrible, it's like great. And it made it because I didn't hold so tightly. It's like obviously most of them were no's, and because it's challenging to find a real fit. And so it was so easy to end the night and go, well, bummer, but I had a nice time, or we had a good dinner, or the food was good, or the sunset was pretty. I could find something to enjoy about the evening. And that, of course, brings us back to Lester's talk about positives, and that you can take something positive, from a lot of things, if not most things. I don't know if you want to add to that or if you have a question.
Well, obviously, your online dating
It did end
pay
up
off.
being successful.
And you didn't hold it tightly, but I love that you hold me tightly.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So let's see. So I have one more quote before we go into our meditation. He says, on why what we want doesn't satisfy us. The desire creates thoughts. The thoughts cover the self, and he's talking about the self with a big S, like our highest self. He says, so the thoughts cover the self, and this makes us unhappy. We wrongly attribute that joy or pleasure to the thing or person. The only possibility of how do you say that? Satiating is to being satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Satiety.
TY. The only possibility of being satisfied is to remain in yourself. Um, yeah. So he says, like I got the AirPods, I'm happy. And we've all had this experience. Oh, I love these AirPods. These AirPods are so cool. And then after a while, because human beings habituate, the AirPods aren't that big of a deal anymore, right? And so then now we're not so happy anymore, or the new car, or the new house, or the new job, or whatever. The things out there in the world are only satisfying for so long, and that's part of what Lester talks about. I'm sure at some point I'll have a quote on that. Is that it keeps us constantly chasing something that we want out there. Or resisting what we don't want. So all right, I think that does it. So we'll go in to do our meditation now. And you can choose, if you want to stay on theme, choose something in your life that you want or you don't want. And see if you can do the rain R process, the rain release process, with the feelings around that wanting or not wanting, and see if you can create some lightness. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so I'm going to, as usual, I'm going to turn off the video as we start the meditation. Okay, so making yourself comfortable, taking a deep breath in, letting it go. Another breath in. And bringing forward whatever it is that you want to work on today. And just recognizing what's there. And moving into acceptance as best as you can. Just asking the question, is it okay if this is here? And seeing if you can say yes to that. And now going into investigation, noticing how it feels in your body, noticing the thoughts that go along with it, and asking the question of whether or not this feeling is about control or safety or lack thereof, or getting approval and love or fear of losing it. And I'm seeing in my case, it's both. And seeing if you can nurture that feeling. Thank it for the service it's tried to provide. And now we move into release. And asking, could I let this feeling go? Would I let this feeling go? When? And circling back to the top on the release, coming back to see what's there. Could I let this go? Would I let this go? When? In case it's not all the way gone or you're feeling a little stuck, which remember, you can always focus on the sense of stuckness or numbness or whatever is there. Will I let this go? Sorry, can I let this go? Will I let this go? When? All right. And taking a deep breath in and letting it out. All right. Just the comment I want to make from my own meditation is it's just profound how our mental state can quite honestly be traumatizing to us. Yeah, that not it really objectively, the situation I worked with, there was absolutely nothing wrong. And at the time of those feelings, like the intensity of the feelings that were running through my body were like, wow. Yeah, really intense. And nothing was wrong. And so, holy cow, in that case, I was 100% creating that. And I was even able to see that, but I sure as hell could not let go. So, anyways, it was good to review it. All right. Have a great day. And we're off on our way home now. So, new background tomorrow. Bye.